JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 24th of February 2020. So, yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, also just before we jump in, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. So you guys feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top here. So now then, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE 100. Now I talked about this one this morning, and basically the FTSE is getting hammered today with the rest of the indices. So of course, the reason for all that is the concerns around the coronavirus, and yep, markets kind of are, or investors are fleeing the equities today. So we can see that basically from the technical side here, the FTSE 100 managed to break this area of support that I was talking about, this upside support line, and this 7,275 level that I spoke about this morning, because it kind of failed to provide decent hold up here, and this kind of led to a further decline where the index managed to reach this other area that I was talking about, the 7,131 zone, which is the lowest point of December. So the big question here is, can this actually remain today below this barrier, or actually will it rebound and close the day above this lowest point of December? So if it does close above this level, above the 7,131, then there could be a possibility to maybe to see a bit of a correction here at some point, just a little bit, a small one, not a huge one, because to be honest, still the main kind of emphasis here is on the downside, and especially if it, for example, stays below this area, if it closes below the 7,131. Don't get me wrong, at some point we will have a bit of a correction here, but for now it's just all bearish. And like I said, keep your eyes on this lowest point of December of last year. Let's see how this is going to be, how the index is going to close in respect to that area. If we stay above it, then there could be a bit of a maybe a small correction first before another leg of selling. But if it stays below all this, then further declines could be possible straight away. So yep guys, for now keep your eyes on this level. Let's see how this is going to play out, but for now we are more bearish than bullish on this one. The next target for us, of course, is this low here, the lowest point of October of last year, and that is roughly around the 7,001 territory, or in other words, you could round it up towards that psychological 7,000 level. So for now, that's going to be our target. The big question here is, will this get reached straight away, or will we see a bit of a correction first and then another leg of selling towards this psychological 7,000 zone? Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now looking at this picture here, this is how it ended the trading session on Friday, but of course if you're looking at the cash index right now, the price is already below the 28,000, this 170 zone, and to be honest, it's already closer to the 28,000 mark. So the psychological 28,000 could get tested today. Keep your eyes on that one, guys. Basically, this is the territory we're looking at. Slightly above that, we do have that 28,036 territory, which is the high of the 6th of December, and also marked by the low of the 13th of December as well. So good potential area to keep an eye on, but like I said, slightly below that we do have that 28,000 zone. So we'll keep an eye on this one, guys, for now. If I jump into a daily chart on this one very quickly. Now, this is what we will be getting ourselves here into. Basically, if this continues to drift lower and if we see it drop below the 28, well, actually, because it's already drifting below the 28,170 zone, but if we stay here below this territory, well, I mean, we could be having ourselves here somewhat of a double top pattern here, and with the neckline being around here, around this 28,170 zone. So something to consider, something to keep an eye on. For now, let's see how the market is going to trade today, but to be honest, we're leaning more towards the downside, and what we're going to be targeting initially will be this 200-day EMA, and shown as the black line. So good potential target here, but again, first let's see how it's going to play out around here, around this territory between the 28,170 and the 28,036 zone. In terms of the upside, well, it's a little bit difficult to talk about the upside for now, unless it starts pushing back above the 29,000 mark, and yep, then we'll aim for the upside. For now, even if it moves a little bit higher here, anything up until that 29,000 could still be seen as a temporary correction. So yep, guys, for now, be very careful here, and yep, keep your eyes on this on the markets today. Brent oil. So Brent oil, looking at this picture here, it continues to slide lower after it managed to travel towards this 200 EMA here, tested, and it did try to overshoot it, overcome it, but failed to do so. The bulls failed to drive this one higher, and we are seeing now the commodity dropping below its the low of 18th of February near the 56.28 zone, and is kind of continuing to drift to the downside for now. Of course, the next target for us is this one right here, this little low of the 13th of February, around the 54.94 zone. We'll see how it performs around here. Maybe we'll get a nice little rebound here and a push back to the upside, but for us now to consider higher levels, ideally, well, to be honest, we'll probably stay on the safe side here and just wait for a push up of the psychological 60 mark before considering higher areas. For now, it's leaning more towards the downside, and to be honest, if the fall continues, if the price continues to slide below the 54.94 zone, then the next little area to consider here is this the lowest point of February near the 53.08 level. So currently that is the lowest point of February, unless this starts falling sharply to the downside and overcomes it by the end of this week. So something to keep an eye on, guys, and yep, something to consider for now. For now, we're aiming for this 54.94 zone. Let's see how it performs around here. DXY, so the dollar index, now after reaching this area of resistance near the 99.91 zone, the index failed to move higher and failed to reach that psychological 100 level, and on Friday we saw the steep sell-off where the index managed to find support around the 99.23 mark, so from which it rebounded and pushed a little bit higher, but still failed to push above this 99.67 zone. And just let me show you what that level is, and what I've shown that level to you guys previously, and that's basically the high of the 1st of October 2019, or in other words, the highest point of 2019. So as you can see, looking at this daily chart, we saw the index overshooting that that barrier here, overshooting that 99.67 zone, but on Friday you saw this sharp, steep sell-off, and yep, it basically closed the week below this level, below the 99.67, and this morning, today, we already had an attempt to overcome this area but failed to do so, so it continues to trade here below this. Of course, this could lead to a bit of a correction here, given that we can see that the bulls are struggling with this 2019 high, but in a way how we could play this one out is keep your eyes on the Friday's low near the 99.23. A nice good drop below this could lead towards slightly lower levels, and these lower levels, I mean this move lower could still be seen as part of a correction, because look at this upside support line, which is running here from the low of the 31st of December, and basically for now any move lower up until this line could still be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of buying. So that's why, guys, for now let's keep it short and simple. A nice good drop below the 99.23 zone could lead towards lower areas here, and then we'll take it from there. In terms of the upside, ideally we would like to see a strong push back above the 99.67 zone, which is the high of the 2019, and then of course ideally a push above this the high of last week, or in other words the current highest point of this year, the 99.91 zone, and a nice good push above this could open the path to that long-awaited psychological 100 mark. So let's keep an eye on that one, guys. AUDJPY, so selling off today, drifting lower, and let me just jump back into a 4-hour chart here. Now this here, you can see it's stuck in a nice little range here. Now let me just quickly mark those levels. So on the upside, the upper bound is around the 74.3940 zone, and on the downside it's the this little area here between the 7303 and the 7315 levels. So basically for now we will remain neutral and continue observing these two areas here, the upper bound and the lower bound of this range. We need to see a nice good drop below the 7303 mark before considering further declines, and by further declines I mean a move towards this lowest point of January near the 72.3738 zone. So we'll keep an eye on that one initially. If of course it wants to travel further down, then yes, I mean we'll reevaluate everything again, but for now let's keep it short and simple. If we do get a nice good drop below the 7303 zone, then yes, we will aim for the lowest point of January. Ideally, just to add to this, ideally we would like to maybe see at least a 4-hour candle close below this in order to kind of aim for lower levels here. For now, as long as it stays in this little range, we will remain somewhat neutral here. In terms of the upside, now of course ideally we would prefer to see a push above the upper bound here through the 74.3940 zone, but in a way we could consider some higher levels if we get a push above this little territory right here. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart. Now somewhere around here basically, guys, there we go, finally captured it. So the 73.59 zone, and in a way a nice good push back above it could lead towards this upper bound here, but of course don't get me wrong, we could find a lot of resistance here around these EMAs here, so that's why with the upside we rather stick to the to a break of this upper bound of the range here before kind of considering higher levels. So keep your eyes on this one. USDCAD. Now this morning I talked about this one as well, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.3278 zone. We've managed to overcome that nicely. The pair drifted further north, tested one of our other targets around the 1.3304, and yep, this is where the holdup occurred and the rate retraced a little bit lower, but it remains above this barrier, the 1.3278. So for now, of course, all this is still kind of more bullish than bearish, especially if it continues to trade above the 1.3278 zone. If it does, then yep, another round of buying could lead this pair towards the highest point of February, the current highest point of February, near the 1.3328. So for now, guys, as long as it remains above this barrier here, we will remain bullish. If it starts dropping below this, then well, there could be a possibility maybe to see this one drifting to the downside here, but of course don't forget that we are still trading trading above this upside support line taken from the low of the 7th of January. So in a way, kind of there still could be a chance for the bulls to step in, but if this upside line breaks and the rate falls below the 1.3198 zone, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and well, further declines could be possible. GBPUSD. Now very quickly on this. This one is a little bit of a messy chart here, as you can see by so basically it, after failing to push above the 1.3070 zone, it kind of drifted lower, tested the area around the 1.2878 zone, overcame it a little bit, but quickly pushed back above it. So if I look at the daily chart, and let me just quickly show you what I'm talking about here, you can see that we had a nice false breakout through this level. So basically we're still keeping an eye on this one, and ideally, of course, we would like to see this one staying below this. Yep, if we do see something like that, if we do see a drop, another drop below the 1.2878, or in addition to that, if we see a nice good break below the 200-day EMA here, then, well, I mean, further declines could be possible. With the upside, we still remain very conservative here. We'll wait for a push above the 1.3070 zone before considering the upside. And finally, EURUSD here. So looking at this daily chart, you can see that yes, we did have a bit of a decline today, but that's quite okay. It was a nice recovery, or should I say nice correction here, after Friday's push higher, a strong push higher. What I was talking about this morning, guys, as well, that in order for us to aim for lower levels, we need to see a drop below that 1.0777 zone in order to kind of consider lower areas, because such a move would confirm a forthcoming lower low here, and yep, more sellers could be joining in. But for now you can see that the bulls are really fighting it hard and really trying to lift this pair again to the upside. But as I've mentioned this morning as well, for us to get excited about higher levels, ideally we would like to see a push above the 1.0878 zone. This is the low of 2019, so previously acted as a good area of support. Now it could, of course, it's taking the role of resistance, but if that gets broken, then yep, we could see some slightly higher levels here. For now, we will just probably sit aside here and continue observing the price action. Okay guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 7 o'clock GMT time. For now guys, I hope you have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye bye.